Hello my dear students, welcome back to our English lesson. And I am your English teacher, Aynazik Islambekova. And today we're going to discover a cowboy country altogether. Are you ready? Let's go! As early English settlements were established in the East during the 17th century, the American expansion towards the West began. With the development of railroads, it opened up the possibility of expanding into the West. Located within the American frontier from 17th and 19th century west of the Mississippi River. First cowboys were Spanish vaqueros, which introduced the cattle ranching too. With such a large expanse of land, it opened up endless acres of fields for cattle ranching. Contrary to the portrayal of cowboys in popular culture, their jobs were simpler. Herded cattle every day. They usually worked on horseback. Cowboys live on cattle ranches. The setting takes place in the Midwest. Cowboy couldn't do anything without a saddle, spurs, ropes, and an iron stamp. The owner's sign was burned with a red-hot stigma on the animal's skin. Not every cowboy had his own horse. Some had to ride the rancher's horses. And by the beginning of the 20th century, ranches appeared. Pastures were fenced off, and railways were built to transport livestock. The number of cowboys decreased, but they continued to live in books, films, and songs. Cowboys are still in the United States and South America. They work on huge livestock ranches. Some ranches are very large. It would take many days to go around them on horseback. Modern cowboys get to herds on carts or helicopters. In the autumn and spring, cowboys from all over the country come to a certain place on their traditional rodeo competition. At the rodeo, the cowboys participate in 5 major competitions. They must lasso the calf, stay on horseback or on the bull, and on the unbroken horse with the saddle and without the saddle and cope with the young one. In addition, races and vaulting are arranged. We are going to read one text about cowboys, but before, let's learn some new words from this text. Your task is to listen very carefully and write them in your notebooks. And the first one is the Mustang. It means a free roaming horse of the western United States, descended from horses brought to the Americas by the Spanish. Mustang means loose or wild in Spanish. Bronco busting, which means breaking a bronco to saddle, that is horseback riding. Tailing means shadowing, tailing, the act of following someone secretly. A cowboy is an animal herder who tends cattle on ranches in North America, traditionally on horseback, and often performs a multitude of other range-related tasks. A lasso, a rope with a noose at one end, used especially in North America for catching cattle. Americans catch an animal with a lasso. A stirrup is a light, frame or ring that holds the foot of a rider attached to the saddle by a strap, often called a stirrup leather. Wide-brimmed cowboy hats. It's a thing that kept cowboys' face away from the sun. Buckskin gloves. It's a thing that protects the hand. A bandana. It's a thing that is used as a dust mask or a towel to wipe sweat away with. And chaps. They are a kind of trousers that cowboys use to protect their legs from cacti and horns. Listen very carefully. A real cowboy was a man who rode horses and worked with cattle. On their heads, they wore wide-brimmed cowboy hats that would keep their faces out of the sun and rain. A bandana belonged to their uniform. In hot weather, they used it as a dust mask to cover both nose and mouth. Buckskin gloves protected their hands from getting burned by the lasso rope. And the lasso was used to catch cattle and horses. Leather chaps were worn by the cowboy to protect his legs from cacti and cattle horns. Cowboys' boots had high heels that helped the foot to rest in the stirrup and spurs to make horses move faster. And it's time to read it on your own. I'm going to give you some time. Let's go! Have you finished? Let's move to the next task. Let's talk about history of cowboys. When the Italian-Spanish explorer Christopher Columbus came to America in 1492, there were no horses or cattle in America. Christopher brought cattle and horses to the country. They needed horses to ride on and cattle to eat. Some of the horses and cattle were left behind, so the Spanish settlers came to America after Columbus gave the wild horses the name. Mustang means loose or wild in Spanish. The settlers were good at catching mustangs and training them for riding. Cowboys called this bronco busting, or breaking in a horse. The wild cattle were named Texas Longhorns because they lived in Texas and had long horns. The first cowboys caught Texas Longhorns by tailing them. The cowboy would ride up to a cow and grab its tail. Then he would put the cow's tail under his leg and make his horse turn away from the cow to make it fail. Tailing was dangerous and the cowboy could get hurt. So the cowboys invented the lasso, but continued to tail for fun. And let's talk about cowboys' food. A good cook helped keep the cowboys happy. He drove a chuck wagon full of food, pots, and pans. The daily menu would be baked beans, beef, sourdough bread, flapjacks, black coffee. Guns were very heavy as well as dangerous and were usually left in the wagon. Cowboys sometimes took their guns or rifles from the wagon to hunt for wild game if they got tired of beef. And now I'm going to ask you some questions about cowboys, and you have to answer the questions. What does Mustang mean? What does bronco busting mean? What does tailing mean? Why did cowboys invent a lasso? And what did cowboys usually eat? The Mustang is a free-roaming horse of the western United States, descended from horses brought to the Americas by the Spanish. Mustang means loose or wild in Spanish. The second question, what does bronco busting mean? Busting, breaking a bronco to saddle. What does the word tailing mean? Shadowing or tailing means the act of following someone secretly. Why did cowboys invent a lasso? A lasso is a rope with a noose at one end, used for catching cattle. And what did cowboys usually eat? The daily menu would be baked beans, beef, sourdough bread, flapjacks, and black coffee. Here you can see some descriptions of words from the text that we've read before, and they are about things that cowboys usually use. And you have to put the right word in front of each description. I'm going to give you some time. Let's go! And the first one, it's a person that travels to unknown places in order to find out more about them? And the answer is discoverer. And the second one, it's a country where Columbus brought horses and cattle. And the answer is America. It's a rope that cowboys used to catch cattle, a lasso, and it's a thing that kept a cowboy's face away from the sun. Wide-brimmed cowboy hats. Good job! Here is the continuation of the previous task, and I'm also going to give you some time. Let's check and compare your answers. It's the thing that protects the hands. Buckskin gloves. It's a thing that is used as a dust mask or a towel to wipe sweat away with. A bandana. They are sharp metal things on the heels, which cowboys used to make a horse go faster. Stirrup. And they are kind of a trousers that cowboys used to protect their legs from cacti and horns. Chaps. Great job! And now, children, let's watch a video about cowboys.
Cowboy Johnny swings his lasso in the air. Cowboy Johnny swings his lasso in the air. And then he stomps his feet on the ground. Cowboy Johnny swings his lasso in the air. Cowboy Johnny rides around on his horse. Cowboy Johnny rides around on his horse. And then he swings his lasso in the air. Cowboy Johnny rides around on his horse. Cowboy Johnny is in love with Marie, and sometimes he gives her a kiss on the cheek. Cowboy Johnny is in love with Marie. Cowboy Johnny takes her to the saloon. Cowboy Johnny takes her to the saloon, and they dance around and have lots of fun. Cowboy Johnny and Marie in the saloon. The floor. Cowboy Johnny is the hero of our town.
So this was our last exercise, and I hope it was interesting for you. And now it's time to say goodbye. Thank you for your attention. Have a nice day.